With Jerome Powell coming out today to reaffirm 3 rate cuts indeed are coming this year, the stock market initiated a gigabounce all the way to new all-time highs, and Bitcoin received an itsy-bitsy bounce as well. But are the Moon Boys back and ready to fill the bears up with another low? Or is this a premature celebration? In other words, a premature bustulation. With Jerome Powell coming out today and basically reaffirming what the entire stock market and all of finance wants to hear, the stock market absolutely initiated a bust. And Bitcoin as well. However, is this Bitcoin dump over, or is there more dumpage to come? So if you understand there's absolutely a ton of pumpage on the way, but you also accept that sometimes getting dumped on isn't really all that bad, hit that like, hit that subscribe, get signed up to FEMEX or BitGet below if you're gonna buy Bitcoin or altcoins. And without any further ado, let's absolutely dump on into these charts today, where you see on the weekly chart for Bitcoin, so far on this weekly chart, which still has over 4 days left, very big bounce. I would even consider this a mega bounce, not quite a giga bounce, but a mega bounce. And this is something that, many people are asking, is this going to continue, or is this just an initial reaction because of the Jerome Powell speech and because of the decision to leave rates unchanged, which absolutely seems to be the case. Now, as we talked about in yesterday's video, right around the 5-minute mark, we talked about Bitcoin bouncing up to this right about 66,000 on this chart. And this is the chart here. And that's absolutely what Bitcoin has done so far. Now, we also talked about basically this needs to, break out of this. Otherwise, a rejection here will probably send us all the way back down to the bottom of this channel, potentially around 60,000. So we're not out of the woods just yet. But this is absolutely, one, expected, but two, also a good bounce. I mean, we've bounced literally at the bottom of this channel. Now, on the daily chart for Bitcoin, obviously, we're below the 21-day moving average, which on the daily chart, being below the 21-day moving average is not ideal. Ideally, we want to get a daily close above 67,000, and above 67,000, I think is a really good sign. We're already seeing the MACD potentially start to reverse some of this momentum. And before we continue with the charts, though, I do want to talk about a lot of other things. So the FOMC summary is that we should expect 3 rate cuts this year, despite inflation remaining above 2%, which is their target goal. They expect core PCE to be about 2.6%, and growth outlook has been upgraded. Basically, Ted talks macro saying, send it. This is a bullish condition here. We're also seeing Bitcoin ETF trading volume today, IBIT having over 2 billion in trading volume, the same as Vanguard's S&P 500 ETF. So basically, insane volume into these ETFs. Another good sign if we want to initiate any sort of real bounce and reversal back to try to get all-time highs again for Bitcoin is that funding rates are returning to normal. This indicates the futures market is cooling down a little bit and speculative bullishness is normalizing. Funding rates exploding like that is not necessarily something you want to see. We also see 75,000, over $5 billion worth of Bitcoin shorts that when the price reaches this level will be absolutely creamed and, busted. This will send Bitcoin absolutely monumentally, probably above 80,000 when we get back up to these all-time highs, around 74, 75,000 US dollars. A lot of shorts that are ready to get gigabanged up in that range. And we're also seeing that, so a combination of a lot of things. The Fed looking pretty benign, meaning it doesn't look like they're going to be aggressive. It seems like they're sticking to their plan, which is what the market is pricing in. Crypto sentiment looks horrible, right? People are very, very bearish after literally like a 15% dump. It's absolutely insane after going up like 200%. $5 billion in short liquidation potential, which is that chart we just showed. Funding has also cooled down a little bit, reset, and liquidity on exchanges is thin. So Bitcoin Monger saying this is a good recipe to send it back up. And obviously, this is a really good chart by On-Chain College that shows exactly where I think we are. We have a ton of room. See this little sliver on this chart? The top of the bull market will be a giant clump of this yellow, in my opinion, and what all historical data has showed. We will see something very obvious on these charts, but this is just the beginning. This is the MVRV. extremes. Again, you can pretty much any chart you find. It's so easy to paint a picture of where we are in the cycle, and the picture is telling us that there's still a ton of room that this market has to go up. So also today, the stock market S&P 500 hit a new all-time high. You can see right here about 52.25, mega bounce after this FOMC, which kind of just further strengthens the bias a lot of people on Wall Street and in finance have about which direction Fed policy is going to be shifting. Most likely 3 rate cuts this year. So that's a big relief for a lot of people that they did not change their tone. It was pretty expected, I think, but just having that unknown resolved, I think helps speculation in the market. We also see the DXY dumping because of this. DXY likely to continue a multi-month downtrend if everything we're hearing about which way the market, the Fed rate cuts and the Fed policy is going. I further fully anticipate that the DXY is going to continue to get dumped on. And Bitcoin's daily chart, again, like I said, I would love to see it close above 67,000 US dollars. This is a pretty engulfing candle. It would basically need to go up to 67.5 to fully engulf yesterday's red candle. But the market has gotten dumped on. I still think it's absolutely possible we go lower unless we can actually really start to see, again, like I said, stronger daily closes. If the 21-day moving average does get bought up, if we get pushed above the 21-day moving average, we get a daily close there as well. On the weekly chart for Bitcoin, on the weekly chart, Bitcoin has barely pulled back. And already on the weekly chart, actually, this is a green candle if it closes above or at where it currently is. If Bitcoin does end up breaking out on this short time frame pattern, this falling channel, that does give us the chance of actually reattempting all-time highs over the next few days. If this actually does initiate a strong bounce here. It's like I said, I personally would like to see a strong daily close before I would start assuming that this is going to happen though, because it's still way too early. We could easily get rejected right here. This is the main chart I'm looking at, right at the 21-day moving average. This is really important that Bitcoin gets a strong close here. If it doesn't, we could very easily face a rejection and spend the next week continuing down to the 50-day moving average around 58,000 US dollars. I personally would love to see it close above this 21-day moving average. So far, the correction Bitcoin has gotten from top to bottom is about 18%. So almost to that 20-30% pullback range that is very much expected multiple times in a bullish market, in a bull run for crypto. So, again, like if we even continue to get more downside, coming down to 23%, a 23% pullback down to around 57,000 US dollars would be amazing. I would absolutely be very interested in, like I said, I'm already like all in on crypto, but finding a way to long even more, to go even more long. But I think that would be an amazing opportunity. But this market is so bullish that it's also very likely that if we actually can, over the next day or two, prove some very strong daily closes above this 21-day moving average, around 67,000 US dollars, then we don't have to go down that low. We really don't. There's nothing saying we have to do anything. But I just think that if we get a rejection here, which is very possible in the first attempt we do. Remember, we fell below this yesterday. If we just pump right back above it, that would be amazing, but it's very likely that we just see a rejection there. Looking on the weekly chart still, last week we printed this very big indecision candle, and basically I think it all comes down to where this weekly candle closes in about 4 days. If this 7-day candle closes pretty much below like 65K, it's very likely, this could turn into a longer term dump. But I wouldn't, I guess what I'm trying to say is I wouldn't get too bullish just yet in the short term unless we actually get at least one daily close above the 21-day moving average, whether it is today or a different day. Let's say maybe this is the high for today, and then tomorrow we close above it or something. That's a really good sign. Or if we end up pushing above this for the close, that's also a good sign. Again, this market is very bullish overall. And so even with these, multi-week, maybe 1, 2, 3 week pullbacks, That absolutely doesn't make things bearish. It just means in the short term, things are cooling off a little bit. The big question though is, are things cooled off enough to where we can go higher? It's possible. It's definitely possible. My opinion, however, still is that, as I said, we have to watch the daily closes, and most importantly, getting back above this 21-day moving average, which we've only been above it going all the way back to February 1st. So for the past nearly 2 months, we were above this 21-day moving average. If we start trading below this, obviously that's going to be a more dumpy trend. So if we get a rejection here, it's not a big deal. It's not bad. But yeah, definitely. And you want to see even more than one daily close ideally and really start busting back above this. But overall, again, the crazy thing about this market is that the momentum can shift like that. And also with the Bitcoin spot ETFs, if they continue buying up massive amounts of Bitcoin, if GBTC continues... Well, if GBTC continues reducing the amount of Bitcoin flowing out of their fund as well, it's just a massive recipe for big pumping. And get signed up with FEMEX or BINGX below if you want to buy Bitcoin or altcoins. Without any further ado,